Say yeah, for it's ridiculously raw. Hello, friends. Your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Floyer here with you for this very special Tuesday night edition of Ridiculously Raw. Of course, I know all of you were expecting a show last night, but we didn't have one, and for very good reason. As you all know, last night, well, some of you may know, I should say, myself, good old MF Michael Fletcher, and the phenom Michael Bullock, we all went to Monday Night Raw live at the Dunkin' Donuts Center in our neck of the woods, Providence, Rhode Island. And man alive, I mean, what a night! I'll tell you that right now. And we left early to beat the traffic, and we made it. That's fine. Grabbed a bite, and then we went down to the show, and we didn't get home till late. And besides, Michael Bullock had early morning work commitments, and MF had afternoon work commitments, and I had not really didn't have anything to worry about. But we didn't get in until right around after the midnight hour. So, and because of that, we decided beforehand that we were going to push the show back to Tuesday, and so that's the story. So, and all I can say was it was an honor, it was a blessing to be with my two best friends last night to share what was, in our opinion, a special and historic night. We'll explain why in a matter of moments, but nonetheless, I'm joined as always by the aforementioned good old MF Michael Fletcher from the Cerebral Smack Talk. Of course, we got the phenom Michael Bullock, and we also have joining us. We didn't think she was going to be with us, but the events worked out. The events worked out nicely. We got the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson, and I'm glad she's here because I really want to get her thoughts on the big moment at the end of the show. I'm glad she's here. I really want her input on it, even though I already know how she feels about it based on some posts we shared late last night. So now that we got all the schematics out of the way, let's dive on in, folks. Monday Night Raw. Last night, of course, as we all know, it was live from the Dunkin' Donuts Center in Providence, Rhode Island, exclusively on the USA Network. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. It was General Manager Kurt Angle coming out to address the Universal Championship situation. He would then be interrupted by the monster among men, Braun Strowman, Kane, and Paul Heyman, and his Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. And and Kurt initially was thinking he was going to make a decision by the end of the show. He decided, no, what we're going to do, we're going to have a triple threat match. It'll be Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against both Braun Strowman and Kane in a triple threat match at the Royal Rumble on January the 28th in Philadelphia. So, second best segment of the night for me. This was a solid way to start the show. I mean, the crowd was, yeah, that crowd was popping big for these guys, I'll tell you. Well, except for Kane, but Angle got a big pop, Strowman got a big pop, Lesnar and Heyman. Oh, when Heyman showed up, oh, what a moment that was. But we knew this was coming. We knew we were going to get a triple threat. And I think we already know how this is going to play out. Brock Lesnar is going to obviously go over, and I think Kane is going to be the one who takes the fall because they still want to protect Strowman, and they don't want to, have him touched in any way because they already fed him to Lesnar once, and they don't want to feed him again. So they're going to feed Kane to Lesnar, and then eventually Lesnar's going to get fed to Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship. So you already know how that all plays out. So get used to it, folks. That's the booking that's going to be going forward. So maybe it was a little too early to make the announcement, but you know what? It doesn't matter. You want to push this thing right away. I mean, that's how I want to do it. I mean, Lesnar's already the heavy favorite. Kane is going to be viewed as a weak link by most fans. So why have Brock already do the job? I mean, why have Brock take out both men? I mean, the sit-up routine by Kane, his classic sit-up, wasn't enough to turn things in his favor. But Kurt Angle, you notice Kurt Angle, he was showing fear. I mean, he was intimidated. Hall of Famer, Olympic gold medalist, and you saw how intimidated he was. Like he's like Brock versus Braun versus Kane. Always true. It's damn true. Peace. I'm out. See ya. Bye. So, but other than that, This was a good way to start off the show. I mean, it was a treat for us, for MF Bullock and I, to see Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar in Providence. I mean, it was awesome, and that crowd ate it up. And Strowman was great. I mean, Strowman got a big pop as well, and both everybody made their case, but we got ourselves a triple threat. So, can honestly say I'm not really looking forward to this match, even though it's a rare Universal Championship matchup because of Brock Lesnar's hibernation schedule. But nonetheless, it was still a solid way to start the show. Second best segment of the night for me, easily. There was one later on. I think y'all know where we're going with this. So nothing more to say. Good old MF Michael Fletcher, come on in. Well, couple things. First off, have you recovered from last night? Number one, and number two, your thoughts on the segment at hand. And now we got ourselves a triple threat as expected: Lesnar, Strowman, Kane, Universal title. Let's do it in the Yellow Delve.
I'm gonna say this. Yes, I have recovered. Well, I had to recover. It didn't matter if I did or not. I had work commitments, so I kind of had to be focused on the job at hand, and I did. So there was nothing wrong with that. And yeah, without a doubt, this was an amazing event. I mean, great way to start Monday Night Raw. The crowd was amped, as you could tell. We showed some videos of it. When Angle came out, it was thunderous. The "You Suck" chant was loud. I'm going to say it. I was hearing stories about how WWE's been having a rough time trying to sell out the arenas and everything else, and that, that there's a big problem with WWE and attendance. Myself and Michael Bullock can all agree there was no problem with the attendance in Providence, Rhode Island last night. It was a complete and utter sellout from the top and all around. There was every seat was practically filled. It was about 99% filled. There was a couple of seats here and there that went, but I'll say it, almost the entire dunk was sold out, and it was electric. It was loud. It was an IWC crowd. Yes, when Braun Strowman, when that roar ran out, the building was going rocking. It was amazing. Yes, when Kane came out, he got booed. When Paul Heyman came out, the crowd went popped again, and I lost my stuff the minute I saw Brock come out, because the boy is jacked. 6'6", 286, nothing on Lesnar, man. He looks like a machine. Looks like a machine. And Strowman? Oh my God! That dude! I mean, yeah, we might be in the upper deck. Yes, we were probably in one of the, we were in Bob Uecker seats. But dude, that guy looks towering. Awesome segment. Angle was smart to get the hell out of there as quick as he did, because it broke down real fast. Strowman looked a little weak, got clotheslined over the top. Lesnar definitely looked strong at the end by giving the F5 to Kane, but Kane sat up. That meant, yeah, you did it to me once, but you didn't finish the job. So it definitely opens for a really good storyline there. This was definitely a great way to start Raw. I don't know how it translated on TV. I haven't gotten a chance to see the playback yet because I've been so busy today. So I haven't even gotten a chance to see the playback. But great way to start the show. Nothing more to say. It's all yours.
Yes, I mean, like you, and I told you, Flora, I had to recover I recovered from last night because obviously I had to work in the morning, so I had to be focused on that. But yeah, it was definitely a great night. We all certainly enjoyed it, and certainly a great segment to start off the show. I mean, the crowd definitely was popping when Kurt Angle came out. with the "You Suck" chant. I was definitely into it, and and he basically said, "You know what? We had ourselves a double count out, so I figured by the end of the night, I'm gonna find out who will challenge Brock Lesnar for the Universal title." And then we hear the roar, and the crowd was going crazy when Braun Strowman came out, and he pleaded his case. And like you just said, Fletch, I mean, he looks so towering when you see him. And then Kane come out, he got booed, and then he made his case. But the crowd popped when Paul Heyman came out, did his usual shtick, and then out came the reigning, defending, undisputed Universal Champion Brock Lesnar. And he really looks jacked. I mean, just by seeing him. And then all of a sudden, Kurt Angle said, "You know what? This is what we're going to do. It's going to be Brock Lesnar defending the Universal title in a triple threat match against Braun Strowman and Kane." And then he was smart to get out of there because he doesn't want to be in the way of those three monsters. And then they started going at it, and Kane looked like he was going to choke slam Lesnar to hell. Well, let's just say the Demon got a one-way ticket to F5 City because he got F5 right in the middle of the ring. And then Kane set up as a way of saying, "You got me once, Lesnar, but you did not finish the job." So, yeah, yeah. I think everybody knows that Brock Lesnar is going over at the Royal Rumble and setting up for his big match, his rumored match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 34. So, and I do agree. I think Kane's going to be the one that gets pinned here. So, great way to start it off. The crowd was definitely into it. And so, Twisted Angel, Dee Dee Whitson, come on in. Your thoughts on this segment?
Well, of course, I had to watch it Memorex because I was working at the time when all this went down. But hey, I thought it was a really good segment to start the show. Definitely, you could definitely hear the crowd over the television. I mean, they sounded, out of all the crowds that I've heard, definitely Providence was louder than even Chicago or any of the other ones, in my opinion. So you could definitely tell that you guys were behind everything going on out there. I mean, that's a really good crowd out there, even better than Cleveland. So, hey, not much more I have to say about it. Awesome beginning segment. Like y'all said, we pretty much expected a triple threat. We got the triple threat now. So now let's just see how it's going to play out, who's going to end up with the title, and see if we can get a champion that's going to actually defend every 30 days instead of every 3 months. So not much more I have to say about it. Let's move on.
We move on to the first match of the night. We had the Kingslayer and the Architect, Seth Rollins. It was originally scheduled to be him against Samoa Joe, but all of a sudden, Jason Jordan shows up. Jason Jordan, he wanted Samoa Joe, and he and Seth Rollins had a little back and forth verbal exchange, and then Samoa Joe comes out, and then Rollins basically wanted to have a fight with Joe. He said the match is scheduled to be you and me, Joe, so let's go. And then Jason Jordan shoves Seth Rollins down, and then Seth Rollins like, "Okay, you want to be like that? I'll fight you then." So that's what we got. It ended up being Seth Rollins against Jason Jordan. Winner of the match in about 19 minutes, Seth Rollins with a knee strike to the head, got the win. MF, I mean, whoa, what a match this turned out to be.
You know what? Okay, let me talk about this fight because Anthony Florio, Michael Bullock, we're all in agreement here. This was definitely fight of the night. What annoyed me about the fight was that, and I don't know if this actually came across on TV, but crowd chant of "This is boring," and really shocked at that kind of thing. I was really kind of annoyed for a little bit there that that chant was going around. And one of my friends, Adam Mitchell, who is at Monday Night Raw, and I told him, I'm like, do you think this fight's boring? And he's like, no, absolutely not. He even went on to say, he's like, I get it that it was a little slow at the beginning, which I think we'll all agree, yes. This was not a boring fight, and especially at the end, holy cow, what a way to end the fight. For me, this was 3.5 stars. Fight of the night. All yours, my friend.
Yes, this was definitely a 3.5-star match and fight of the night. I mean, yeah, I mean, I did hear that same thing too, Fletch, when we were there last night, and I heard some of the fans were saying this is boring. I'm like saying to myself, really? You really think this match was boring? This was anything but boring. I mean, we all enjoyed it. I mean, give credit to, kudos to both men, especially Jason Jordan. I mean, say what you want about the guy, but he just continues to get better and better every day. Certainly a great way to start off the matches portion of Monday Night Raw. So, 3.5 stars, fight of the night. Didi Woodson, your thoughts on this match? To me and Fletch and even Florio, we thought this match wasn't boring. Did you think it was boring?
No, it wasn't boring. And honestly, through the TV, I didn't hear the crowd saying anything about it being boring. But, of course, I was paying more attention to the match than I was the crowd on this particular one, trying to, see what Jordan was going to do here and how it was going to play out, which I almost figured Rollins was going to walk away with this because Jason Jordan really hasn't won hardly anything since he's jumped over to Raw. I'm going to give it a solid 3 stars. Definitely the match of the night. Very, 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 very good way to start the show, and not much more I have to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
I agree with MF and Bullock's ratings, Didi. I think you underscored it a little bit, with all due respect. 3.5 to 4 stars is my rating for this. This was the fight of the night. Absolutely. Yep, and I'll everything that MF and Bullock said, their stories check out. We did hear that.
Well, you got to think, you guys are going from a perspective of being there. I'm going from a perspective of TV. So you guys have got more of the crowd reaction in your ratings than I do. So
fair enough. That's fair enough. But there were "this is boring" chants. There were. And I couldn't believe it myself, but I think that was early on in the bout. But as the bout progressed, some very good near falls, some great spots. That mayhem on that brouhaha outside the ring with Joe. Joe was sitting ringside and on a steel folding chair. And then just the action on the outside. We got a couple of tope suicidas. Well, actually, I think we had one tope suicida during the match. And, man alive, this was a very good match. I know a lot of people didn't really want to see the match, maybe because I know a lot of people, we all know everybody hates Jason Jordan nowadays. He's getting the Roman Reigns and John Cena treatment, the Boo Bird City. And we always keep saying it. Yeah, the mic work needs work, but he makes up for that in ring ability, and that's exactly what he had last night. And I can honestly say that might have been Jordan's best match. It's right up there with the Roman match when he battled for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship. But that was an unbelievable match. Surpassed our expectations for sure. And Rollins and Jordan, they delivered one hell of a match. Fight of the night, absolutely. We were we were bouncing around. We were having so much fun. We just couldn't believe how good this match was. I mean, the near falls, wow, just amazing. So, and there was that element of Shakespearean drama. So, and they filled the TV time in a very entertaining way, and they set up the eventual Joe Rollins match while continuing the storyline with Jordan. Very nicely done. And you also have to give WWE credit for the way they're placing longer matches earlier in the show, when the live crowd and the TV viewers should have more patience than they would later on in the show. So, yeah, you give the rowdy crowd a long match, and we got it. And this turned out to be something really special. So very good. So, okay, let's move on here. We're gonna consider this. We're gonna consider this a cutout here. Finn Balor squaring off against Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel in a handicap match. Balor wins via disqualification in 5.5 minutes. And we saw, I mean, we couldn't believe it. We were like, DQ? I mean, we knew the match wasn't going to be anything good. We knew Balor was going to win. We just thought it was going to be a lot more decisive. We thought we were going to get a coup de grace or something. But no, it ended up being a disqualification finish, illegal double teaming, a little overzealous, if you will. And then all of a sudden, and when all this was going down, I was saying to these guys, I was saying to MF and Bullet, the light bulb went off in my head. I'm thinking, why do I have a sinking feeling something big is going to happen here? Oh yeah, something big happened, all right. We had a surprise appearance, a surprise debut from the one and only Hideo Itami. Yes, Hideo Itami in the house. And so what we're gonna do, we're gonna cut out the first bout, the handicap match. But what we're gonna get into here is the tag team matchup. Finn Balor challenged Dallas and Axel to a tag match against him and Itami. Naturally, they accepted. Finn Balor and Hideo Itami win the match 4.5 minutes, 4 minutes and 35 seconds, because of the fact that Hideo Itami hit a finishing move that we used to see a lot from a certain straight edge superstar from Chicago, Illinois. So yeah, he won it with that move, the GTS. Itami and Balor get the win. You know what? Let's try this. I'm sure we're going to consider the match a cutout, but a quick thought, you guys, on the debut of Finn Balor. I should say of Hideo Itami. Michael Bullock. I mean, we didn't expect to see Hideo Itami.
Yeah, I mean, because we were all thought that we were gonna have to wait till, which was tonight, was supposed to be the 205 Live debut of Hideo Itami, but no, we got him last night, and let's not forget, it was Hideo Itami who was the one to introduce Finn Balor when they were in NXT. So who would have thunk that a few years later that these two would team up once again, only this time on the main roster? And I'll tell you what, I thought Hideo Itami looked really good in his first official match on the main roster, and I didn't get a chance to see tonight, but I can tell you he's going to look good on 205 Live, and a certain cruiserweight champion certainly needs to take notice of this because of what you saw from Hideo Itami, because I think you're looking at a future cruiserweight champion in Hideo Itami. So yeah, so nice debut for Hideo Itami on the main roster. So Dee Woods, and do you have a quick thought? Oh, wait a minute. She doesn't get into cruiserweight. So Florio, do you have a quick thought?
I absolutely do. I mean, I told you guys something big was going to happen. I had that feeling in my gut once Miz Taraj was beating down on Finn Balor. I thought honestly we were going to get it, and something big happened. And how about it, Hideo Itami? I mean, none of that. I mean, we did not expect to see him. I mean, that was one of 4 surprises we had during this show. 3 good, 1 not so good. I'll get into the not so good later, but Hideo Itami coming in. I mean, man alive. I was not expecting that whatsoever, and amazing. So yeah, so solid debut for Tommy. He had a rough and injury plagued time in NXT. So nice to see him debut on the main roster. And I also like the fact that he got a win in a non-cruiserweight match before moving into the cruiserweight division, which he did tonight on 205 Live, and I'll share that, next week. But that's all there is to say about that. I mean, he has the GTS, so I know there's going to be some fans who I realized to some fans there's no love lost between WWE and CM Punk, but WWE would have been wise to drive home repeatedly that Itami is the innovator of the GTS, so that more casual Punk fans don't view Itami as a GTS ripoff. So that's really all there is to say on that. So solid debut for Hideo Itami. Nice surprise for all of us last night. First of 4, I can say. So nothing more to say. MF, quick thought on Hideo Itami. I mean, you know him better than all of us.
Yeah, Tommy's done so much, especially in the world of New Japan Pro Wrestling. That's the partnership. That's the connection. That was because of Tommy and so because it was the IWGP. They were 2 of the guys in that junior division of New Japan Pro Wrestling back in the day. So they just this aura about them, this connection about them that makes them really good, really strong, and everything else. And yes, there is a little bit of the connection in NXT because they were together for a little bit there at a time. So yes, Hideo Itami coming to WWE on the main roster. I think Anthony. Andy's like something doesn't seem right. It feels like somebody's coming out to help Balor, and think about it, it didn't dawn on me until after the fact. And if you saw on my videos, I don't think it's been posted yet, but I did the infamous what when he once he hit the ring. But it was a really cool moment, no doubt about it. And then once you got into the other fight, I mean, it's what we expected. And I did mention to Anthony and Mike Bullock that about the GTS that he was the originator. He started doing the GTS all the way back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. So this is nothing new more than anything else. And the thing was, a lot of people were really angry at WWE because they would not, at the time, they would not allow Hideo Itami to do the GTS because of the fact of the CM Punk thing and everything else. The only time we ever got to see Itami do it was at the weekend of WrestleMania when they were in San Jose. This was non-televised, though. Did it on Tyler Breeze, and the internet blew up. They exploded. That Itami did the GTS. Itami did the GTS, and then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, prove it. Show. We want video proof." They showed it, and then the internet blew again. Basically, oh my God, WWE! I can't believe you let them do it. I mean, whatever the case may be, Itami looked good. Now it's just what's going to happen next. We'll wait and see. He's definitely in 205 Live, and like a certain champion, you better keep your eyes peeled, have the eyes in the back of your head, and not thinking about some certain skirt, and we'll get into that a little bit later on, because if you don't watch yourself, who knows, you might be a former ex-champion very soon. Florio, it's yours.
Alrighty, so yeah, first of many surprises on this show, and now we move on to the number 1 contenders match for the Cruiserweight Championship. Cedric Alexander, Drew Gulak. Just want to let you know, Enzo Amore was technically in Drew Gulak's corner, although he did go over to the stage announce table. man alive, that was such a sight to see in person. And I got to commend MF for getting a wonderful shot of it, a nice up close shot of it. Well done. So, okay. Now that I got that off my chest, back to the business at hand. Cruiserweight Championship opportunity to the winner of the match in 12 minutes and 50 seconds. And moving on to face Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship, Cedric Alexander. Good job, WWE. Good job. For once, you did something right. It's about time. I mean, well, took advantage of an opportunity that was given to you. I mean, it was an opportunity he was originally not supposed to have. I mean, you remember it was supposed to be Rich Swann, but Rich Swann, basically stupid idioted and mutton-headed himself. I'm not going to get into further detail on that. But Rich Swann's loss, Cedric Alexander's gain. That's all I can say on that. And it's about time. I mean, I recognized the potential this young man had when I watched the Cruiserweight Classic last summer. Especially that 5-star match he had with Kota Ibushi, which was one of the best in that tournament. A match that I strongly suggest, if you haven't already, WWE Network. The commentary by Mauro Ranallo and Daniel Bryan made it even better. So, but in that match, I realized the potential. I'm like, that's a star one day. That young man is going to be a star. And seeing him up close and personal last night, including doing Michael Bullock's favorite move, and Bullock got to see it live and in person. You know, Bullock, your favorite, the Tope Con Hilo. And you should have heard how crazy Bullock went when he saw that. I mean, he just let out the biggest Tope Con Hilo ever. And I was like, yeah, man, that was awesome. So, third best fight of the night for me. I'm going to give this a solid 3 stars for the effort. I mean, it could have been better, yes, but I mean, this was a very good match, and it's so nice to see Alexander get that win. And now he's got an opportunity of a lifetime down the road against Enzo Amore for the Cruiserweight Championship. And we noticed last night that Enzo Amore, who was sitting at the stage announce table, he got up and walked off. And we were like, what in the world was that about? I mean, we were thinking maybe, because, there is a no love lost situation between him and Corey Graves. Not just on TV, but real life too. If you check social media during, a few months back. But no, if you noticed, he was actually on his phone exchanging texts, and you would have to think it has to do something with this new romance angle with Nia Jax, and you would have to think it had to do something with that. He was on the phone, and then I guess something came up, and he just walked off. So that's pretty much what that was about. It wasn't because of Graves jabbering at him or anything like that, but we assumed it was, but it wasn't. So nonetheless, this was a solid match. Both men looked good, but Alexander, though, I'm telling you, I got this feeling. I think Cedric Alexander is groomed, and I think if anybody should lead the Cruiserweight division in 2018, I can't think of anyone better than Cedric Alexander. I realized the potential he had during the Classic, and finally they're letting him live up to it. About damn time. Rich Swann, your loss. Cedric Alexander's gain. Well done. Solid 3 stars. Well, more like 2.5 to 3 stars, but still the third best fight of the night. Now let's go get it. That's all there is to it. And when that match goes down, whether it's on Raw or 205 Live, I'll be watching. And I hope they do the right thing and they put the belt on him. He deserves it. Damn sure deserves it. Nothing more to say. MF, come on in. Cedric Alexander, #1 contender. What a match. Oh, you might, MF. You muted.
Well, I'll say this, Anthony. No, this was a very good match, no doubt about it. Yes, we got to see it. A Tope con Hilo, a beautiful maneuver as always, and then something that I would like to say at the end of the fight when I did the hobo bolombo, as he hits him with the lumbar check at the end. I don't know if Anthony kind of totally missed that. My little homage to Austin Aries when he did that on 205 Live when actually he was with the crew on that one. So this was definitely a really good matchup. Solid fight, no doubt about it. But like you said, man won. Cedric Alexander has been basically on a chase for a little while now, and he is without a doubt the biggest star on 205 Live and a big name because of the fact of what he brought to the table, especially coming from Ring of Honor. If you don't know what he did back in those days, look up on YouTube. There's a lot of good fights that he's done, and he is without a doubt one of the top guys in professional wrestling today, at least at 205-pound level. And for me, I got nothing bad to say. I got all the respect in the world for Cedric Alexander. He's very high on my board. He's high. Bill McConnell. I remember Bill McConnell openly admitted it. Cedric is one of his favorite guys in the cruiserweight division, and no doubt about it, this guy is a bright young star, a bright young future, and deserves the opportunity that he's getting. He's busted his tail, worked whatever he needs to do, and in my mind and in my heart, this guy is indeed cruiserweight champion of the world and deserves that moment, that brass ring. Now, I understand Vince McMahon might be a little down on guys who used to be in TNA, guys who used to be in Ring of Honor, but that's kind of an unfair. This guy is definitely a future star in the making more than anybody else. And I wonder if this was Vince's call or Triple H's call to give Cedric the opportunity. Without a doubt, whoever did it should be commended because you are doing the right thing. The right man is getting the opportunity. That fight be next week on Christmas Day? Could that fight be the first Raw of 2000 and on New Year's night? Or could they wait till the 25th anniversary of Monday Night Raw when they do the big show either at the Hammerstein Ballroom, which would be a great venue to have that title fight because you're talking almost a Ring of Honor home turf there. To have a fight at the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York, to do it there would be a huge deal more than anything else. Because, like I said, for Cedric Alexander, he's fought many times at Hammerstein. And that would be a huge opportunity for him. Going back home to a Ring of Honor staple, to an arena that is synonymous with Ring of Honor, to have that championship fight in Ballroom, in New York, and more importantly, possibly to have Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross commentating that fight? Are you kidding me? So we'll see what happens, but nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, I give it to you.
Yeah, a 2.5 to 3 star match. I mean, this was a really good match, and I'm glad Cedric Alexander won this, and he deserves this opportunity. I mean, he's been busting his butt. I mean, especially since the Cruiserweight Classic, and I mean, he's been waiting for this opportunity, and now he's going to get an opportunity to wrestle for the Cruiserweight title, and yeah, like you said, I mean, it was Rich Swann's loss, but it's now Cedric Alexander's. Now let's hope he could take it and run with it. Nothing more to say. Let's just move on, Florio.
We move on to another cutout. It was Asuka squaring off against Alicia Fox. Asuka wins it, 3 minutes, 40 seconds. No rating, no a dud. I mean, one of the worst fights of the night. And now we move on to a very interesting 6-man tag team matchup. This came about during a backstage segment with Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Jason Jordan in Kurt Angle's office. Um, they all were whining about fighting Joe and the whole 9 yards, and Angle says, "You know what? How about the three of you team up against Samoa Joe and the Bar in a 6-man tag team match?" We were like, "All right, we could get with this." And that's exactly what we got. It was the 6-man tag, Samoa Joe and the Bar, the tag team champs, going up against Rollins, Ambrose, and Jordan. Winners of the match in 13 minutes and 10 seconds. Samoa Joe and the Bar. It was Sheamus with the bro kick on Rollins after a distraction. Cesaro got the cover and the 1, 2, 3. Now, MF, before you start, I wanna get this. I wanna address this. Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose was legitimately injured going into this match, and I have an update, and the update is as follows. So bear with me for a moment. Dean Ambrose is undergoing surgery for a potential triceps tear tonight. The severity of the injury won't be known until the procedure takes place. An MRI showed suspicion for a high-grade triceps tendon injury, possibly a tear. So he is undergoing surgical exploration and most likely surgical repair of the torn triceps tendon. The words from WWE physician Dr. Chris Amon, that's what he said to WWE.com. The surgery will be happening later this evening, although it might have happened already. And we should have some further updates either late tonight or sometime tomorrow as to what the findings were, what the structures that were damaged were, and also a timeline for recovery. Orthopedic surgeon Dr. Jeffrey Dugas will perform the surgery, and if it is a full tear, it could sideline Dean Ambrose for up to 6 months, which would cause him to miss WrestleMania 34. That said, nothing is official until they perform the procedure and assess the damage. And we here at the Wrestling Forum, the whole 9 yards, we wish Dean Ambrose the best of luck, and we pray for a speedy recovery. So, as I always say, read into it what you will, or as Derek would say, take it with a grain of salt. So, nothing more to say on that. I got all that out of the way. So, MF, now let's get your thoughts on the match as well as the potential ramifications from Dean Ambrose's injury. He might have to miss Mania.
Yeah, this is bad. I mean, there's no way to cutting it. There's no way of slicing it. We saw it during the fight. We saw it at first. We thought about it at first, and when we saw it happen, we saw Dean writhing in pain. We knew something wasn't right. You just saw it. You saw the look on Ambrose's face. He was ticked. He was not happy. He was hurting. We were like, uh-oh, this ain't good. What happened here? And obviously, you heard it. Dean Ambrose suffered the injury. Looked like it happened when ran off the rope, did that tope suicida, but when he did it, he collided with so many people, but I think he went straight on into Ambrose, and that's why the injury occurred. Now, any matters that he suffered a further injury, possibly during that backstage beatdown, but that's a story for another day. And at first, I was thinking maybe this was, that this was a work injury more than anything else. That, this was kind of a work because we never saw the X go up. So we're thinking, uh-oh, this is not good. Motion for the trainer. So we knew that, okay, maybe this is somewhat serious enough, but not enough that would cause us major trouble. But unfortunately it did, and we saw what happened. Occurred, nothing more to say. Michael Bullock, it's all yours, my friend.
What was the rating you guys gave it?
What we give it? Like 2.5 for it? Neighborhood. 2.5.
I thought it was 2 3/4 to 3, maybe 3 1/4. Second best fight of the night.
All right,
2.5 to 3. Yeah, 2.5 to 3 is my rating on the fight. I mean, it was a solid match for what it was. I mean, yeah, when I saw him, when I saw Dean Ambrose do that tope suicida, I was like, and I saw him hurt, and I'm like, oh boy, this was not good. And then what happened backstage after the match, and now you hear this and thinking if it's a full tear, he could be out 6 months. And that would suck for him because, like you said, it would have a missed WrestleMania, and that'd be a damn shame. But it is what it is. So hopefully, a speedy recovery to Dean Ambrose, and hopefully we'll know more. Maybe tomorrow, maybe somewhere before the weekends. But yeah, there's really nothing more to say. So, Didi Woodson, your thoughts on this match?
It sucks that he got hurt right here before Christmas, and I'm with it with the guys. I hope it's nothing to keep him out, for 6 months. But there's that possibility. We have to be prepared for the worst, just in case it is that bad. But just wait until we hear word on the procedure on that. As for the match, I'm going to give it 2 3/4 stars. I thought it was a pretty good match. But yeah, it's just the injury definitely, I think, superseded the whole match, because the first thing that happens when you're a fan of WWE, whether you're at the arena or you're watching on TV, your heart sinks when you see these guys get hurt. And especially when you find out that it's a real injury and possibly something that is either career-threatening or going to keep them out for a certain length of time. And, this is definitely one of those times. And, the backstage attack, I think that was a bit much. I think, they did enough damage in ring, but, it is storyline based. So, but, with the possibility that there was already an injury there, they shouldn't have did the segment to make it possibly even worse. But like I said, that's my opinion. WWE does whatever they feel like doing anyway, and to heck with what the fans think. Well, this particular one thinks they just went a little bit overboard on the backstage segment, but it is what it is. So, Florio, I'll toss it back to you.
2 3/4 to 3. Second best fight of the night. The suicide dive was another moment that Ambrose will eventually point to when he turns heel, but he came into the match with a brace on his elbow. The suicide dive or the tope suicida looked fairly harmless, and the broadcast team tried to make it seem like Ambrose landed awkwardly, but that wasn't the case. And we were kind of hoping that Jordan would show a little bit of they could have had Jason Jordan, show a little bit of some angle moment there by mistakenly assuming he was going to be an honorary member of the Shield, only for Ambrose and Rollins to reject him. I mean, that could have happened easily, but it didn't. But nonetheless, this was a solid match. I mean, the theme of this match was Seth Rollins. I mean, Seth Rollins pretty much worked the majority of the bout. And like 3 or 4 times during the match, he was trying to get Ambrose in there. He was trying to get that hot tag, but each and every time he got cut off. And that was the theme of the match. And of course, we were doing commentary during the match, and we were saying he was showing some ill effects from the earlier bout with Jordan. So, but nonetheless, this was another solid match, and second best fight of the night. And I mean, it was revealed that he had a legit elbow injury going into the show, and then they did an injury angle backstage that wrote him out. But we'll see what happens. But let's move on now. Another cutout here, but this was yet another newsworthy cutout, believe it or not. We had Heath Slater and Rhino inaugural SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, getting ready for tag team action, and we're thinking, okay, who are they going up against? And then MF and Bullock didn't know it, but the light bulb went off inside of my head. I got a good feeling about this. I don't know why, but I got a good feeling about it. And then we heard the words, "Say yeah." They're back. The Revival. Scott Dawson, Dash Wilder, former 2-time NXT Tag Team Champions. Of course, the Revival won the match. Let's not kid ourselves. We knew they were going to win it. They made quick work of Rhino and Slater. Revival won it 3 minutes and 10 seconds. I think we're all in agreement here. Great to see the Revival back. And you noticed backstage, Titus Worldwide, Apollo Crews and Titus O'Neil, of course, with their newest member, Dana Brooke, they were watching the match backstage. And I don't know, but they're slowly but surely working up the Revival, setting them up, and could be another squash to win down the road, or maybe Crews and O'Neil could be the Revival's next feud. You don't know. Okay, now, what was going to happen here? This is another cutout moment here. We had Elias. I don't know why, but these guys, MF and Bullock, they were going crazy. They were going nuts for this guy. And I'm like, okay, yeah, okay. This is the walking cutout right here. But they were loving it. They were loving it. I gotta tell you. He did the whole walk with Elias thing. He said, "Who wants to walk with Elias?" And you could clearly hear these two guys say, "We want to walk with Elias." I'm like, oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
Well, I was just channeling my Cerebral Viper gimmick.
Okay.
I'm gonna align and say yes. I would love to walk with Elias.
That's what that was.
Okay. And plus, on top of that, he was bashing the New England Patriots and Tom Brady by singing about Roger Goodell, one of the biggest villains in New England. Obviously, I'm gonna side with them on that.
Yep, of course. So, but he was doing his little song, but then he was interrupted by Sasha Banks, Mickie James, and Bayley with her wacky waving, unflailing inflatable tube, man. And you could clearly hear Bullock, how crazy Bullock went over that. Oh man, was that fun? I set him up for that one.
You were too.
Yep, we both went crazy about it. But I set you up for that. So I was basically setting that stage for you so you could do it and have our funny commentary moment. But nonetheless, it was main event time. 6-woman tag team match. Sasha Banks, Mickie James, Bayley going up against Absolution. All 3 members, Paige, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville. The match is a cutout. I'll say that. Because it ended in a disqualification, 3 minutes and 10 seconds, overzealous again. But who walked out? The commissioner of Monday Night Raw. She was in the house. Oh my goodness, I could not believe it. I mean, I prayed for it, and
I literally had to hold you back.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Let me just say it like this. Prayer works. I was praying. I'm like, please let Stephanie be here. I really want to see Stephanie. Asking you shall receive, folks. I got to see Stephanie McMahon, the $1 billion princess, in all her glory. Oh, she looks stunning. But then again, we already knew she was there because we saw the infamous limousine pulling up outside the dunk, and there she was. We were thinking it's got to be either Vince or Stephanie. And then when I saw Stephanie, oh boy, that's all I can say on that. And ask these two guys; they'll tell you firsthand, especially Bullock. So, oh, what a moment! Nonetheless, Stephanie McMahon was in the ring with all the ladies. I mean, the entire Raw Women's roster came out. Another fracas, brouhaha, whatever you want to call it. It all went down. And then Stephanie McMahon made the most historic announcement with the women yet. She talked about the women's revolution has now become an evolution. The Divas division is now the women's division. Talked about the first ever women's Hell in a Cell match, the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match. I mean, they've had last woman standing matches, tables matches. The list goes on and on. He's like, we're not done yet. And then she asked us, do you want to see these ladies make history again? We were like, hell yeah. And you could clearly hear me yell out, book it, because I knew what was coming. And then we were right there on the edge of our seats. And then Stephanie made the official announcement. January 28th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Wells Fargo Center, the 31st annual Royal Rumble pay-per-view. We already know it'll be Brock Lesnar, Braun Strowman, and Kane in a triple threat match for the Universal Championship. We know we're going to have the 30-man Royal Rumble match. But are you all ready for the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match? Michael Bullock, how do you follow that? You start off on what was clearly the segment of the night.
Oh, this was clearly the segment of the night, and a history-making segment, to say the very least. I mean, wow. I mean, this was unreal. I mean, you think of all the great women's wrestlers that have been in this industry. I mean, the Fabulous Moolah, Mae Young, Alundra Blaze, Trish Stratus, Lita. I mean, I could go on and on with the list of women. And I'm sure they must be smiling at this historic announcement. The first ever women's Royal Rumble match. History was made, and history will be made when this happens at the Royal Rumble. I mean, I can't wait for this, boys. I mean, not only going to have the women from Raw, but the women from SmackDown Live being part of it. But I even heard, like maybe some legends could return for the to compete in it. Could Trish be in it? Could Lita be in it as well? I mean, it was a moment I will never forget, and one that all three of us got to experience. Royal Rumble can't get here fast enough because I cannot wait for this. Nothing more for me to say. Dee Woodson, you are a resident women expert here. What are your thoughts on this historic announcement?
That's exactly what it is. It's a historic announcement. If anybody has listened to me in the past talk about the ladies, this was one of the two things that I have really been pushing that I wanted to see WWE do, and that's the Women's Rumble. The other one, of course, being making a women's tag team division. But of course, we don't have that yet. So that's my next thing to be pushing for. But you know, we're finally getting the Women's Rumble. We're finally going to see all the ladies from both Raw, SmackDown, and who knows, maybe even NXT being thrown into it, or like Bullock said, some of the legends being thrown into it. You know, there's no telling who all is going to end up in this match, but it's about freaking time that they get the respect to actually have the type of matches that we see with the guys. I mean, she said last night, you know, we've had the first Money in the Bank. We've had the first Hell in a Cell with the ladies. You know, we've had all these firsts with them. This is our next one. And it's, you know, I even said it on Facebook. It's about freaking time we have this. And, you know, for this announcement to be made out there, I mean, that's amazing for you guys. You guys got to see this live. And I was sitting in the the wing next to the one I actually work in with a guy who's a big wrestling fan. And I mean, we were both pretty much sitting here saying, yeah, let's do this, let's have this. And then all of a sudden she announces that. And I mean, both of us, trying not to wake up the residents, were pretty much just like, yeah, hollering at the top of our lungs that, yes, we finally get to see a real ladies version of the Rumble. And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see how this plays out. See who all is going to actually be in it. It's an amazing it's an amazing concept that they finally are listening to people saying that, yes, you need to do this. So now WWE, let's move on after we get past this Rumble, and let's start trying to bring in, maybe, like I said, the tag team. You've got a lot of ladies on both sides. Let's try to do that. I mean, you already have stables building on both sides with the ladies. Let's do some tag teams with the ladies. I mean, it wouldn't hurt. So I'm off my high horse. So Florio, it's yours.
Like MF once famously said on a Strictly Sports show a number of years ago, a night to remember, a moment to remember. I cannot believe. I mean, we knew this was coming. We knew it was coming. Let's not kid ourselves. We knew this was coming. But we never in our wildest dreams thought we were going to be live and in person at the Dunkin' Donuts Center / Providence Civic Center from the most historic announcement with the women yet. A women's Royal Rumble match. Whoa, Nelly. They're going for the gusto on the Royal Rumble, folks. I mean, you thought they went for the gusto with the Survivor Series? They're going for the gusto here. Okay, the Universal Championship match leaves a lot to be desired. Let's not kid ourselves. That's a match that none of us want to really see because we already know what's going to happen. Besides, it's probably gonna suck in so many ways. But we already know how great the men's Royal Rumble match is going to be. Oh, by the way, Elias declared himself as the first entrant in that match. Forgot to mention that. But the women, wow. We've been wanting to see this. Yes, Didi, I agree with you about the tag teams in the future. But there's one more thing that I want to see from the women. And I know we're all gonna, and I would be shocked if none of you agree with me on this. I hope and pray one day that we see the women main event WrestleMania. That's what I want to see. I want to see the women main event WrestleMania. I don't care who it is. I want to see the main event WrestleMania. You do that, bucket. That's the last item to check off the bucket list, off the women's list, off the Revolution list. We've already done it all. We've done Hell in a Cell. We've done tables. We've done Last Woman Standing. We've done Money in the Bank. Now we're gonna get the Royal Rumble. Tag team division down the road. I wouldn't rule that out. They had one way back when, 30 years, some odd years ago. The Glamour Girls and the Jumping Bomb Angels used to give us awesome matches, especially that one at the inaugural Royal Rumble event in 1988. That 2 out of 3 falls match for the then Ladies Tag Team Championship, which was amazing. But let me say it like this. Women from Raw, SmackDown Live, and the same rules apply. Whoever wins will, as of now, challenge their respective brand's women's champion at WrestleMania. Or could they pull the old loophole and have whoever wins challenge for the championship of their choice? We don't know how that's going to work out, but it is that same stake. So whoever the women's champions are going into the Royal Rumble, very likely going to be Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair. They'll be out of it. And then we'll see which woman will be the last woman standing and will get that first class ticket to New Orleans and challenge at WrestleMania. So, a night to remember, a moment to remember, the segment of the night. What a joy and what a blessing it was for myself and MF and Bullock to be there. Didi, I wish you could have been with us. I wish you could have been with us in Providence last night. The place was amazing. It was a madhouse at the Dunkin' Donuts Center / Providence Civic Center, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's something that we're going to treasure for the rest of our lives. And you've always heard me in the past talk about taking home memories or taking home a memory. Well, MF Bullock and I, we took home a memory last night. December 18th, 2017 is a night that will never leave our hearts for as long as we shall live. Because we were there when Stephanie McMahon made the historic announcement of the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match. We knew it was coming. We just didn't think they were going to pull the trigger this soon. And in our backyard, we got to see it live as it happened. Unbelievable. So, nothing more to say on this segment of the night. A night to remember, a moment to remember in the immortal words of good old MF. So, wow. MF, how do you follow that, man? First ever Women's Royal Rumble. The bucket list is almost complete. Now let's get a tag team division. And then from there, let's have a main event WrestleMania. You do that, we're done. All yours, MF.
All right. The big stuff that's going on now. First off, congratulations to the WWE Women's Division. Historic moment, a monumental moment. Again, ceiling breaking moment, and they deserve it. I think God said it. You deserve it. And we were there with that crowd last night. These ladies have worked their tails off for moments. And I love Stephanie McMahon also said when she talked about some of the women from the Fabulous Moolah and Mae Young. But I really wish she would have gone deeper and started to talk about it, like the Trish Stratus, like Lita for Didi Woodson's sake. Some of these other who really paved the way what these women are about to do. And let's be realistic. On Monday Night Raw, moment when the women main evented and let them have that moment. Down Live talk there for the women and gave us the first ever Money in the Bank. A collective unit. The entire WWE Women's Division, SmackDown, we are going to get a Women's Royal Rumble match. You kind of have to believe the rules will be a little different than the men's. Just a little bit. Not too much. They got to draw the numbers at random. But how much is that time period? How much are they going to get between picks? Is it a minute? Seconds? Will it be 2 minutes? That's going to be one. The second unknown is the elimination. How are they going to be eliminated? Because is it going to be through the ropes? Do you got to go over the top? Do you just have to be thrown out of the ring any way, any fashion to be eliminated from the Royal Rumble, from the Women's Royal Rumble match? That's a couple of things that we need to hear with. That's one thing. Another thing is, in the Royal Rumble, yet the current roster but you know there's bombshells that probably will be dropped. Heard what Derek is alluded to, and I saw the message just a little bit ago, his prediction. That is one very possibility. This earlier today, not only can this is more than just a rumor, I could actually confirm this right now. There's a former women's champion, and in my generation, and in Anthony's generation, in Michael Bullock's generation, in Dee Dee Woodson's generation, one of the pioneers of the women's revolution, be in Philly for the Royal Rumble women's match. It's not dirt sheeted, not just hearsay or speculation. To happen. Are you ready? Satisfaction at the 2018 Women's Royal Rumble match.
Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes.
That is correct, folks. Harry, 6-time, I think 6 or 7-time WWE champion Trish Stratus is confirmed for the Royal Rumble. She is in.
Oh my goodness.
She is the first competitor in the Royal Rumble match. And on top of that, there was one name that already got confirmed tonight on the SmackDown show, but we'll get to that tomorrow. Throw that tonight because this was a SmackDown announcement, but a certain someone has thrown her name into the Rumble fight. She is in. So we got 2 confirmed names in the Royal Rumble. And if correct with his, we might have a 3rd name to be thrown into the Rumble hat. Who knows what's going to happen, but that makes me wonder. If Trish is already confirmed, could it be possible? I don't know. Could we get maybe the likes of Kelly? Because, there was talk about her coming back, maybe on a one-off. Eve Torres's name's been thrown around now. Some of these ladies who used to pioneer the women's division, could they come back? One night only. The Royal Rumble. I'll tell you one thing. You want historic, you want some greatness, this is how you get it done. Men for doing this. And there's 2 other people I need to commend. And you may love them, you may hate them, you can say whatever you want to say about them. But Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, they've been the driving force revolution, especially Stephanie. She has really pushed get this kind of notoriety because Vince McMahon would never do it. He didn't believe that the women could handle it. He didn't think that they had what it takes to get these opportunities. But it was really Stephanie that was really pushing hard to get a chance. And look what has happened in about 2. The women's division went from ho-hum diva fights to literally becoming as par with some of the men in WWE today. We've seen this evolution of talent, historical moments, of achievements, especially in 2016, 2017, and we're going to see it again in 2018. Ground on the future of women's wrestling. That I appreciate Stephanie McMahon for what she has done, because it was her was the reason why we're getting this thing in this world. You know, there was one time when Lita and Trish made that big leap, main event in Monday Night Raw. And normally you would think that's a once in a lifetime. We're probably never going to see that again. What we're seeing now of movement, but a seismic shift in the future of women's wrestling as we know it. And it's a good thing they're doing this. When TNA started it, what TNA was doing, how they were taking that next step to women's wrestling, while we were poo-pooing all over WWE. Wild. Now, WWE has learned their lessons, doing things that's even more bigger and more better. The first ever steel cage fight, the first ever Money in the Bank ladder match, the first ever Hell in a Cell. A couple of weeks ago, Sasha Banks and Alexa Bliss got to fight Air Emirates in a Middle Eastern country where women is really segregated not to do anything like this, and they in a title fight in that country, which was a first time ever, never done in the history of the world, part of the world. Every day, WWE has done bigger and better things with the women's division that have even dreamt of, or even phantom, because it was too taboo. It was too maybe, but we'll never see it. Now we're seeing things amazing. And maybe someday at WrestleMania with the women, I don't think that might happen. But then again, I never thought I would ever see a Hell in a Cell with the women, because I thought it would be too dangerous. I never thought I would ever see a Money in the Bank ladder match. Sure as heck didn't. You know, it was always about, but we never thought it would ever happen. A women's Royal Rumble. Anything is possible, and anything can happen in World Wrestling Entertainment. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
He let off MF, so
I'm sorry.
I know it's the excitement. I know the excitement. You can't help it. What a moment! I mean, this is something that we're going to be talking about for many years to come. That's all there is to say about that. So, and like I said, what an honor and a blessing for me, MF, and Bullock to actually be there live and in person as Stephanie made this announcement. Unbelievable. So, okay, overall reviews of Monday Night Raw. Didi Woodson, we're going to start it off with you here. Your overall thoughts on this Monday Night Raw from Providence last night?
It was a pretty good show. I mean, it wasn't the best. You know, Raw's already had their best show. I'll probably give this one maybe a 5.5 to 6 because of some of the lower points. But I mean, wow! You know, it ended on the probably the best note of the whole show. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, Stephanie coming out and dropping that bombshell. And like I said, you guys were really lucky to be able to actually hear that in person. But yeah, wow. I mean, it's, and now hearing that Trish is confirmed to be out there, I mean, that'll be even, make it even more exciting to actually to watch. But yeah, you know, if it wasn't for that announcement, Raw would have really ended on a really low note, because look at how many cutouts we had there at the end. I mean, there's just, you know, it's not a Raw show without cutouts, but I mean, it's just, there's just so many low points that happen, whether they're storyline worthy or not. There's just so many low points that happened out of this show compared to the one that was really high and had all the best matches a few weeks ago. So I hate to, you know, to drop a low bomb on it by going 5.5 or to 6, but hey, it is what it is. They need to step the game back up to do the A show bit. So not much more I have to say about it. I'm stepping out because I've got to get girls off to school early in the morning for their last day for Christmas break, and then work my 2 to 9:30 shift. So I will be home tomorrow evening about the same time. So see you guys later. Night.
Yeah, and Dee Dee will be doing Cerebral Smack Talk tomorrow night. So if you can make it for that, that'd be.
I'll do my best. I'm going to try to watch the show tomorrow, since I had to Memorex it again, just like I did Raw. So I'll try to watch it before I leave for work. That way I'll be good to go when I get home.
All right, yeah. It'll be at the same time tomorrow. So.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, yeah. So we'll see you then. With all due respect, again, Edie, you underscored it. Obviously, you're scoring it from a TV standpoint. The three of us, we're scoring it from a live standpoint, and yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't the best show, yes, but it wasn't the worst either. I mean, we all agree. We're giving this at least a solid 7 out of 10 because of 2 reasons. One, that surprisingly good match with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. But what really put it over the top for us was the announcement of announcements with Stephanie announcing the first ever Women's Royal Rumble match, and knowing that the 3 of us were there and in person to see it. I mean, unbelievable. Fight of the night, of course, was Rollins and Jordan. Second best fight was that 6-man tag with Rollins, Jordan, and Ambrose against LeVar and Joe. And then rounding out the top 3, the cruiserweight match with Drew Gulak and Cedric Alexander. Yeah, there were match cutouts, of course, but we had 3 big surprises: the Women's Rumble announcement, the debut of Hideo Itami, and the return of the Revival. Yeah, we did have that one bad surprise with the Ambrose injury, but overall, it was a wonderful experience. It was amazing to be a part of. It was awesome to be there and to share it with my 2 best buddies and broadcast partners. That made it even more special. So that was honestly that may have been the best night we've ever had. And we are hopeful that we can definitely do that again the next time they come back. So well done. So solid 7 out of 10. Nothing more to say. I mean, MF Bullock and I, we all agree this was 7 out of 10, and but we'll get their perspectives on why we rated it that way. So MF, I know you said 7, maybe 7.5, but let's get your thoughts on it.
No, I gave a straight 7 now. This was an amazing show. This was really good. If I felt the atmosphere, the crowd was definitely into the night. This was a great crowd, great to work. Now I've heard people saying that, yes, it wasn't the best show, and I think we all agree with that, but it was newsworthy, and that's the biggest thing. There was a couple of fights that kind of was a little bit of a letdown, and a lot of people thought it was going to be a lot more better, but at the end of the day, I thought they did solid, so it was a good show, definitely more than anything else, but at the end of the day, I think it could have been a lot more stronger, but you know, be too angry about it. But it was definitely one of those quality shows you expect from a WWE event from Providence, Rhode Island. You know, this is the second time I got a historical announcement. Because remember, the first time I ever went to Monday Night Raw, that was back in 2000. That was the night that I got to hear Mick Foley at the time, who was the commissioner of WWF, historic announcement of the first ever tables, ladders, and chairs match that was set for SummerSlam 2000, which became one of the greatest SummerSlams of all time. At least in my mind. So it was right there. There was really nothing more to say. I like Anthony said, I'm just honored to see another historical moment in that arena in Providence at the Dunk, and to see this epicness that went down. So, thank you WWE. Thank you, Providence. I can't wait to do it again in the very near future. So, Mike Bullock, I'll give it to you.
Yes, this was a 7 out of 10 for me. I mean, it was a good show. I mean, I thought the crowd was into it with some of the things that happened, but yeah, that historic announcement of the women's Royal Rumble match, I mean, that really topped it off for me. So, yeah, you guys pretty much touched on everything. I mean, great job, WWE, and great job, Providence, for putting on a really good show. So, there's really nothing more to say. 7 out of 10. So, Florio, if you're ready, it's time for your Tony Steak.
Honestly, I wish we could just end the show there and reflect on that wonderful night we had last night. But we do have my Tony's Take to get into. 205 Live Impact Wrestling. This is a 50-50. One of these reviews is going to be bad. The other, I'm going to be singing a lot of praises. So let's start it off. 205 Live from December 12th. And here we go. Started off, there was an in-ring segment with Drew Gulak and Ariya Daivari. Gulak was getting ready to do his PowerPoint presentation, but it was Cedric Alexander interrupting, and it led to a match. Cedric Alexander against Ariya Daivari. Cedric Alexander wins it 8 minutes and 2 seconds with the lumbar check. 2.5 stars. Fight of the night for me. Perfectly solid match with Alexander keeping momentum and spoiling Gulak's plans for Daivari to possibly take him out ahead of the Raw match. Then we had Kalisto against Jack Gallagher. Kalisto wins the match 9 minutes and 7 seconds. Another 2.5 stars. Another perfectly solid average match. The problem was that despite the good legwork by Gallagher, there was no drama as he and Kendrick get beaten like a drum 90% of the time. I'm happy to see Mitchell get an actual angle. The four have done some pretty good work on main event. And then the main event, non-title match, Enzo Amore against Tony Nese. Tony Nese wins via disqualification in 2 minutes and 44 seconds. No rating to a dud. It was all angle. Unfortunately, the angle sucked, but had no heat. Nobody cared. And I would love to see Drew Gulak turn face and go after Enzo, which you would think it's where it's going. So, yeah, this was not a good show. This was the bad show here. This was another bad 205 Live. 3 out of 10. This was a bad show. It continues to stay on the downturn in terms of quality. they either put all the good stuff on Raw or it's way too much Enzo. We had 2 average matches and an absolutely horrible main event segment that killed the show. And we also keep using the same few guys while TJ Perkins and Lince Dorado are sitting at home doing nothing. I'm not saying they would save the show, but we need some fresh faces. And hopefully Hideo Itami and the debut in another future debut, Rockstar Spud, could be coming in and help it. So, and of course, next week I'll give you my thoughts on tonight's 205 Live, which featured the debut of Hideo Itami. So, nothing more to say. Let's move on to Impact Wrestling. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to be singing the praises of this show because this was an amazing show. So, we started it off with a fatal 4-way number 1 contenders match for the Knockouts Championship. We had Sienna, Casey Spinelli, Madison Rayne, and Allie. Winner of the match in 12 minutes and 46 seconds, and the number 1 contender, Allie. Hey, 3-star match. This was an overall good match. They all worked hard. Second half was well done. And it had to be as the overly long commercial break really killed the initial momentum. And Allie picking up the win was a great call. Hopefully they can repackage her and give her a great, an amazing run. So good for her. Then we had an X Division tag team match. Caleb Connolly and the X Division champion Trevor Lee against Super X Cup winner Desmond Xavier and Taiji Ishimori. Desmond Xavier and Taiji Ishimori pick up the win in 11 minutes and 52 seconds. 2 3/4, teetering on another 3 stars. Overall, pretty good match. But more importantly, continues the angle with Lee and Ishimori. And with the win, Ishimori just put himself in line for our next division title shot down the road. Then we had a 6-man tag team match. Alberto El Patron, Petey Williams, and Johnny Impact against global champion Eli Drake, Chris Adonis, and Congo Kong. Winners of the match in 8.5 minutes. Alberto El Patron, Petey Williams, and Johnny Impact. And for me, believe it or not, this was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars. Very good sprint of a tag match, mixing the Drake, Patron, and Impact and Petey issues together well. And Patron stealing the win, which should lead to a title shot against Eli Drake. And it was a blast while it lasted. Really good. And then they closed it out with James Storm and Moose calling out American Top Team, and it was announced that James Storm will face Dan Lambert in a loser leaves town match. Pretty good segment, setting up a third big match for a few weeks, and then the main event of the evening for the vacated GFW Knockouts Championship. Rosemary squaring off against Laurel Van Ness. I know a lot of you purists out there are saying, "Oh, Rosemary, no problem." Well, winner of the match in 13 minutes and the new GFW Knockouts champion? Nope. They did the unthinkable. Laurel Van Ness is the new women's knockout champion. Another 3-star match. Despite the long commercial break, again killing the momentum, to their credit, the ladies worked through it and they delivered a good match. I know a lot of people don't like Laurel as the champ. They think it's the wrong call, and they think Rosemary is getting the shaft. Well, small part of me agrees with that, but you know me, I'm all for making new stars, and I'm going to give it a chance, and I want to see where it goes because I'm intrigued. Laurel Van Ness, as you all know, the girlfriend of Zack Ryder in real life, and what a moment for her. So well done. Congratulations, Laurel Van Ness. You remember a few years ago, she worked as that personal trainer of Daniel Bryan during the Stephanie McMahon Brie Bella angle. Now go figure, 3 years later, she's now on top of Impact Wrestling's women's division. So, and then they had this vignette at the end. I'm not going to get into that. So, okay, this to me was the Impact of the year right here. 7 3/4 to 8 out of 10. Very good and quality episode of Impact. And this is the kind of show they need to be putting on. Good wrestling throughout. A number 1 contender for the Knockouts title. A new Knockouts champion. Continue the LAX OVE feud. And they have 3 matches set up for the first show of the year because the next 2 weeks they're going to be doing best of shows. Good stuff this week, and more of this, please, Impact. I've gone on to say many times that they have the parts to put on a good show, and tonight they finally figured out how to do it, and they delivered. The first show of the new year has a lot of potential, and no word on if that's going to be a live show, but I'll say this. For the next couple of weeks, there will not be any Impact Wrestling reviews, obviously. It will just be 205 Live, only because of the fact that they're doing best of shows for the next 2 weeks. So on the first show of 2018, I mean, we're going to have Taiji Ishimori challenging Trevor Lee for the X Division Championship. Alberto El Patron will be challenging Eli Drake for the Global Championship. And Dan Lambert is going to be going up against James Storm in that loser leaves town match. So I don't know if these have been taped already or if this is going to be a live show. So actually, I believe it already has been taped. So actually, it has been taped already. Okay. So this is what you can expect. Of course, that X Division title match with Trevor Lee and Taiji Ishimori. We're going to have a triple threat grand championship match with EC3 against Falaba and Matt Sydal. Joseph Park will introduce his new client. Laurel Van Ness in her first Defense of the Knockouts Championship, squaring off against Casey Spinelli. Tag team title on the line, LAX and OVE. Eli Drake, Alberto El Patron for the global title. And Dan Lambert and James Storm in that loser leaves Impact match. So we got a lot of potential for January 4th. So, all right. So that will do it for this special Tuesday edition of Ridiculously Raw. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in. And before we wrap up, I'm going to bring MF in so we can set the table for tomorrow night for our special Wednesday edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. So MF, what's on tap for tomorrow night for Cerebral Smack Talk?
Well, it's not going to really be much, guys. The only thing we got is SmackDown Live, so which we just, if you guys have seen it already, we're going to be giving our thoughts about it, and that's basically it. We got no other program or updates that I'm going to have for you guys. So 10:30 Eastern on Braves Fan 95 tomorrow night, and until then, Anthony, just take it home.
All right, we'll do MF. Tomorrow night at 10:30, SmackDown, Cerebral Smack Talk. We're only going to review SmackDown Live. Nope, apparently no Mikey's Mindset. That's fine. And then Friday night we'll be back for NFL Friday, Week 16. Run down all the games in Week 16. I know MF will be back with his never-ending scenarios, so we'll see how that works out. And that's pretty much it from there. So no Ridiculously Raw on Monday night because of Christmas. We'll see if it's pushed back to next week. We'll have to check in with Derek on that. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for our special Wednesday edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit the Twisted Angel Nene Woodson, and the newly named Bullet Club Soldier 445 Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Wednesday. And until tomorrow night for the Wednesday Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. And for everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio. So long.